or the United States government, in the case of Donald Trump, they would not only not solve it, they were making the problem. They were creating the problem for all kinds of financial and political purposes. It's a very similar campaign. And a lot of people are, wonder, why do I spend so much time talking about the Spencer Pratt race? When do we ever talk about the mayor's race in LA? And the reason is there are some mayor's races that are national news. Typically, New York always is. Always, as long as I can remember, no matter who's running, even Giuliani and before, that's always a national story. Sometimes Chicago, depending on who it is running, okay, because sometimes there's an issue there. So it's not unusual in our major cities, but the reason that LA hasn't been a national story in mayor's races of the past, at least not in my time, maybe before I was on the scene, is because, like a lot of these blue cities, everyone knew what the problems were, but no one was going to do anything about it, right? So it was, and the races were hopeless. And there's a big difference going on now in Los Angeles. And if this, I think about this now, if Spencer Pratt becomes the mayor of Los Angeles, California, imagine he's a registered Republican, even though it's a nonpartisan race, and he's able to solve the problems that he's talking about. And I see no reason why he wouldn't. I mean, he knows what the problems are. He's very knowledgeable. Think about what this impact is going to be nationwide in other blue cities. The governments in blue cities, it's a lot like England, right? The people of England don't support what's going on in their country. They don't. But the powers that be are profiting on it. In Chicago, do you really think the residents of Chicago like walking around in a city where there's gun battles all the time and stray bullets flying all over the place? Of course not. But there's nothing they can really do about it because the political machine, like in England, like in Los Angeles over the years and other places, the political machine, you got no juice with them. And they don't care if you're suffering. They don't care if it's dangerous for your kids to walk to school. They don't care because they've got this system in place and they profit on it, and it's corrupt. It's not new. Politics have always had corrupt people in it, but now that's all the Democrat Party is about. And when this election is over, and if Spencer Pratt becomes the mayor, whether it's tomorrow, if he gets 51%, which, I mean, the odds of that are very astronomical, getting 51%. Okay, it's a three-way race, but he will either come in first or second. And Harvey Levin over TMZ is predicting that he'll come in first. There'll be the runoff, and he's the favorite to win. There's a new poll out today that has Spencer Pratt a couple of points ahead of Karen Bass. That in itself is amazing. A white Republican man who's straight is ahead of a liberal Democrat black female. Who would have thought that would happen in LA? But if Spencer Pratt becomes mayor, there will be people in other blue cities that say, hey, why are we living like this? Portland, Oregon, as an example, right? Portland, Oregon has like troughs like you have on a farm for cattle or for horses where homeless people bathe. In the city, it's insane what goes on in Portland. And while the politicians love it because it keeps them in power or they make money off of it, the people that live in these communities don't love it. Certainly not as much as they want you to think. They may be liberal, but they don't like living in filth or in high crime. And Spencer Pratt becoming mayor of Los Angeles would give people hope in other blue cities, and they'll say, hey, we don't want to live like this anymore. And there'll be a lot of other Spencer Pratt / Donald Trump types. Everything that let's just think about this now, and what Spencer Pratt's going up against in California, believe me, he's going up against a machine. Everything that President Trump has gone through in the last 10 years with everything, the lawfare, the assassination attempts and everything, 100% of that is because he's not part of the establishment. Like Spencer Pratt is not part of the establishment. And I got to tell you, everyone should be impressed with Spencer Pratt. You don't think they've been doing research on him to find dirt, and they have found nothing. I'd very much like to hear what you all have to say. The number's toll-free, 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. It's Dr. Knight out of California.
How you doing? Well, here, tomorrow's the big day. Have you voted yet?
Oh, yeah, I did mine. I followed one of our California representatives. He created like a guide. He's a Republican.
Yep.
He's very savvy on social media. I followed his guide, I researched it, and then he wanted us to do it by mail-in, and then I went ahead and verified that my ballot had been received via the checking online. So I did that. I send you, like anything that I see on X that has anything to do with Spencer Pratt, I send it to you on X. I quote you or tag you or whatever. I don't know if you get it because my account's private, but I send you everything that I possibly can.
Okay.
Because I don't know what you get to see because I know you.
Well, what was it? What was it that you sent that you're referencing?
Well, there's a couple of things. One of them, he recently ended up getting endorsed by another billionaire. You probably saw this thing by the guy, forgot what his name is, but he was the actor in Frasier. He's endorsing him.
Kelsey Grammer. The creator of the HBO show Entourage endorsed him.
Yes. Yes, he did as well. And then the amount of money that he's actually raising, and he's not just doing the AI or the people, actually his people that endorse him are doing AI. He's actually doing these trucks that have like live video, or not live video, but videos on them with the cartoon characters roaming around the city.
Yep.
I got my Spencer Pratt hat. It's really exciting. I think what we're actually looking for is whether or not he's going to hit that sweet spot. The one thing
hitting 51 in one of these elections is nearly impossible. It's a three-way race.
You're right, but it would. But I want to be optimistic, but
I hope he does. That would be amazing. That would truly be amazing.
But definitely getting, being one of the two is the main goal. You know what I mean? But the one thing that I know that POTUS's his group listens to you. What I wanted to suggest is that they need to get rid of these ballot boxes that are like on the street.
Oh, you mean like the one that caught on fire?
Yes, I was going to mention that. Yeah, because they can't. They're not safe. They're not secure. So I think he should fight. I don't know if that was included because I do know that he recently came out. He's been doing the mail-in, getting rid of the mail-in voting. But anything that is mail-in, I think that they should definitely either put it in a facility in front of a police station or anything like that.
Well, I don't understand. Like here in Florida, I go to the polling location. I don't understand why they have these drop boxes and all these weird things. Well, I get exactly. But the thing with Spencer Pratt, all these Hollywood people that are endorsing him. I was mentioning this on one of the shows over the weekend. Karen Bass has all the regular people, right? The teachers union, the firefighters union, all that. But Hollywood is pretty much, the business of movie and television making is pretty much shut down in Los Angeles. But a lot of those people still live there, and they're out of work. And they're union people too, and it seems to me that there's been a big move by the Hollywood crowd to come out and support Spencer Pratt because they want movie making and television show production to return.
Well, that point, but don't forget the union's made up of individuals, and I know that there are probably a majority that end up voting the way that their union says. But I have to be honest. That doesn't necessarily mean that all of those union people are going to go ahead and vote the way that the union is promoting.
Exactly.
Because they go against the interest. I mean, it's one last thing that I want to say, because I know there's probably millions of people that want to talk to you. I want to thank you so very much for taking this one thing that is on the opposite side of the country and following through with it practically from the beginning. I'm so very grateful that you put your teeth into this and have not let it go. Because I know that it technically, I think it impacts everybody.
It does
in a weird way, but I'm really grateful that you haven't let this go. Well,
no, I appreciate it. And I think that Spencer Pratt's election is right now is the most important election, perhaps, in the midterms because of what it will represent in the rest of the country.
The hope and vigor and enthusiasm that he has ended up generating through his story, through his creative mechanisms of doing his campaigning, his genuine, authentic self that's being presented in areas that he's gone into South Central LA.
Yeah.
He was actually, and all of these areas, he was actually invited to go. He was in Koreatown or something.
Well, I saw him. He went in and he was meeting with Black people when I was watching this over the weekend, and they wanted him to, see, the thing is, people that live in these areas that have all these problems, they haven't had anybody to advocate for them. He's so much like Trump, and let's hope he gets 51% tomorrow, because if he does, can you imagine the shock waves that would go through the country with that?
That's what I'm saying. I think that they're actually starting to blow up or destroy ballots because of the fact that he's doing so well. The funny thing is that billionaire governor candidate ended up going a couple of days later, attempted to go into a South Central area, and he was not only confronted, they ended up getting physical and were brandishing knives.
But here's the problem. All eyes are on LA.
Yes, they are.
And so that says, all right, well, hey, listen, I appreciate the call. You make some good points. Yeah, and I'm going to continue. Yeah, thanks so much. Yeah, and if you're on hold, stand by. So I want to play a little bit. This is Spencer Pratt on Bill Maher's podcast.
They don't want to invest in LA because we allow naked drug addicts in front of the hotel. You got to run. I really think we'll give you your phone number. I will send you 1,000 naked drug addict videos. I don't have to think about that one. No. My phone, I can't even look at my phone anymore. The whole city sends me their naked drug addict content. Again, I don't mean to be the campaign manager, but just don't offer to send naked pictures to anybody. Their video, the least it's on the campaign is over. Send all the naked pictures.
Okay, Bill Maher, this thing that Spencer Pratt exposed about this real con job that the Democrats have with the NGOs and the homeless. Here in Florida, if you go to Fort Lauderdale, which is not too far from me. I grew up in Fort Lauderdale, and my mother still lives there, and all that. And I go there sometimes. And when I lived in Fort Lauderdale, and it's still this way, they have a big homeless problem. It's run by Democrats. And I could never understand why they allowed it. In fact, I was down in Fort Lauderdale. I went down to Fort Lauderdale a few weeks back on my MAGA scooter, my Vespa. And there's a homeless camp. It's been there for 30 years in downtown Fort Lauderdale. And the smell is so bad from the homeless. It's one of those smells you can taste. Like you ever been on a farm and there's that farm smell that you can taste? Similar thing. And I made a wrong turn. I turned a couple of blocks earlier than I wanted to, and I drove by the homeless camp because I haven't lived in Fort Lauderdale for many, many years. So there's been a lot of changes, and I kind of lost track of where I was. And I drove by the homeless camp on my MAGA scooter, and I'd forgotten how bad it was, and I could never understand why there were homeless all over the place. In fact, many years ago, I interviewed the mayor of Fort Lauderdale, and I said, man, why are all the homeless people everywhere? And he says, well, it belongs to the public, and they're part of the public and all this stuff. And now, courtesy of Spencer Pratt, I know why. Because these local officials are making boatloads of money off the homeless, right? They get them on their Medicaid, they get them in different treatment programs, they get all this money off of them. And that's why if you go to Democrat cities, of which Fort Lauderdale is one, like Los Angeles, every Democrat city in America is overloaded with homeless because they don't just encourage them to come, they bring them there because it's a big financial racket they're running. This is Harvey Levin from TMZ today. Okay, so Harvey Levin, I mean, I don't know if he's Finn's sitting here a lot, right? He's saying he's going to get more votes than her in the primary, maybe, because ramen noodles and them splitting the vote. But when this goes to the general election, right now the primary is nonpartisan. So the general election will be partisan, and they're going to hammer home that he's Republican. And people in Los Angeles, they just won't be able to go out and vote for someone who's a Republican, and he thinks that she's going to win then. I don't agree with that. What in a normal time, in a normal election, yes, but this isn't normal. And Spencer Pratt has woken people up in Los Angeles as to what's really going on. Why is there so much crime? Why there's so much homeless? Why is this not working? And he's going to fix it. Whoever she ran against before, they weren't identifying the problems, and they certainly weren't going to fix things. Now, if you're on hold, stand by. I'm going to take a quick break. When we get back, there's more to share, and we're going to cover more on the Spencer Pratt race and some other things on the program. But hold on. I hit the button a little too quick. But first, we're going to take a break and hear about Jupiter Joe Thomas.
Meaningful gifts don't come from big companies, they come from family. At Selena's Studio Art on Etsy, every design begins the same way, with a mother, a pencil, and a lifetime of imagination. For years, she created hand-drawn characters for children's books, funny, playful, and full of heart. Her work was recognized around the world, featured in magazines, and loved by generations of children. Now those same drawings are coming to life in a whole new way. From t-shirts and hoodies to mugs, coloring books, puzzles, posters, even home decor. Each piece at Selena's Studio Art on Etsy carries the warmth of a real story and the care of a real family. Every item is made with premium materials, carefully produced, and designed to bring lasting joy. Whether it's a gift for someone you love or something special just for you, Selena's Studio Art on Etsy has it. It's a legacy SelenaStudioArt.etsy.com. That's SelenaStudioArt.etsy.com. Most thumbnails are not bad. They are ignored. Thumbnail Roast gives creators brutally honest AI feedback before they upload. Find out what's hurting your clicks, mobile readability, curiosity, emotional impact, and title match. Upload your thumbnail. Pick your title. Get roasted. Try it free now at thumbnailroast.vercel.app. That's thumbnailroast.vercel.app.
All right, welcome back. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Brian Craig Show podcast, available wherever you get your podcast. Okay, wherever you get your podcast, just search for the Brian Craig Show. I'll come up. If you want to catch the program in video form, where you can see and hear me and call in live and catch all that, that's on YouTube at Brian Craig Show. So I pulled this up. This is Billy Bush. Yeah, that Billy Bush from the Access Hollywood tape. He's got a podcast, and he interviewed Spencer Pratt the other day, and here he is interviewing the producer of Entourage, the creator of Entourage, right? Big Hollywood guy. Remember Entourage? And I love this studio that Billy Bush is in. This is a real background. That's not fake. And I saw Valerie Bertinelli has a podcast. She uses the same studio. What a view that is. But excuse me, this is Billy Bush with the Entourage producer.
There's this trope that anyone who speaks out for anything other than the Democrat establishment in this town is risking their career in some way.
I like how this Entourage producers, he's not just doing the interview from his car. He's actually driving down, looks like the LA freeway. Because you can see everything moving in the background while he's doing this podcast interview. He's not even parked. Oh, my goodness.
Children a better life, and right now, I've got one child who will not come back to California, living in Arizona, who was raised here his whole life and just has been begging me to leave for 5 years. And I have a 22-year-old daughter who, debates every day whether she can start a life here in California, and a 3-year-old. So all I care about is keeping them safe and giving them opportunities for the future. So whatever anybody thinks about what I have to say is meaningless to me. But what you can see behind the scenes that you've talked about is the amount of real liberal people, and we're talking about people who will fight you if you say you like Donald Trump. Those people are fed up with what's going on in LA.
Okay.
The national issue has nothing to do with anything I'm talking about. I am not a Donald Trump fan. I did not vote for him. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you Spencer Pratt can save LA. What I can tell you is the status quo is destroying it, and we need to try something different.
Yeah, what Spencer Pratt really is something a lot like Donald Trump, is that he's a nonpartisan candidate, really. If you think about it, isn't he? He's a nonpartisan candidate, and that's one of the reasons he's doing so well, and people are gravitating towards him. Here's another clip. This is Spencer Pratt with Bill Maher on the Bill Maher podcast.
60% of people in Los Angeles that are experiencing homelessness, they're not from California. They've been brought here by NGOs that profit off of this homeless industrial complex.
See, this is a new thing, the homeless industrial complex. Like I say, we have here in Florida too. This is something I don't think anybody realized. Yeah, it's so insane what's going on and what the Democrat Party has become. I've been talking about this a lot the last few weeks because it's become so obvious, is that the Democrats no longer are about politics, candidates, platforms, or any issues. All they're about is keeping their financial criminal enterprise going, whether it's the homeless industrial complex that he's talking about there, the Medicaid fraud that they got going on around the country. That's all the Democrats stand for now. And people are fed up because they're living in high crime areas, they're living in filth, and it's all because of the Democrats. And you know, the kind of politician Spencer Pratt is, like Donald Trump, it's kind of like the anti-politician, right? Now, Trump's been on the scene now for over 10 years, and he's been able to take things to the next level where he's draining the swamp and getting rid of the permanent political class and replacing them with as many good MAGA people as he can. And hopefully, when Spencer Pratt becomes mayor of Los Angeles, he could do a similar thing, get rid of a lot of the people that are local politicians and working in these different government agencies and get competent people in. Here's another clip from the Bill Maher podcast.
Whatever happens, everywhere I go, like restaurants when I'm out, and you know, I'm very approachable. People are Spencer Pratt. What do you get on Spencer Pratt? What do you think of Spencer Pratt? I mean, you are on people's minds.
That's for sure.
Nobody can take that away from you. That is just a fact. I am telling you, it's anecdotal, but I'm a good sounding board because people want you on my shows. They want to, and so, I mean, if nothing else happened, you did that. I don't think we saw that coming a year ago.
Yeah, see, now this is a very interesting thing that Bill Maher's saying, that, you know, there's a buzz. Everyone in LA, regardless of who they are, regardless of their background, their economic background, regardless of their politics, they're probably mostly all liberal Democrat. It's LA. They all are talking about Spencer Pratt because they know that he can fix the things that they're sick and tired of. Here's a video that Spencer Pratt dropped to people before they vote tomorrow. Okay, see, this is the thing. Rahman and Karen Bass are splitting the vote. And this is a very important message that he put out there, because what he's talking about here is that voting for Rahman is voting for Karen Bass, right? Voting for Rahman is voting for Karen Bass, and don't do that. Vote for me. You know, the thing that he has, there's one thing he has going against him. There's a lot of people out there. There was a woman who was interviewed on the streets by a street reporter over the weekend who will only vote for Karen Bass because she's not white. There's a lot of people out there that are racist that won't vote for a white guy. So he has that going against him. This is Harvey Levin again on Fox, and he's really involved in this race, Harvey Levin. Wow. Yep. Mm-hmm. Well, he's a big fin center, isn't he, Harvey Levin? He doesn't want to take really any position, and he's pointing out that Karen Bass has more experience running a big organization into the toilet. right? I mean, what a dumb comment to make. I don't really like fence sitters. However, the reason I share all this from him is because what you're seeing is there's a lot of buzz going on in LA about Spencer Pratt. Everyone's talking about him. No one's talking about Karen Bass or Rahman. They're talking about him. And you know, the only negative that he could possibly have if this goes to a runoff, which it probably will. I hope it doesn't, but it probably will. The runoff's so many months away. You know, let's just hope he hasn't peaked. He's going to have to spend these months until the general election, if he goes to runoff, of really, really being out there and not overexposed and people getting tired of him. Because let me tell you, however many months between now and November till the general election, the runoff, Karen Bass isn't going to fix any of these problems. First of all, even if she wanted to, she couldn't, because her whole political machine are profiting off of the homeless crisis. So they can't clean up the problem because they don't view it as a problem. This is the solution. This is what they're living off of. So the problem is going to continue and maybe even get worse before the runoff. I gotta take a break, and I have some news that just dropped. And after the break, I want to jump into that. Now, I want to talk about Mike Lindell and My Pillow. Remember, Mike Lindell's running for governor of Minnesota. He's first place in the Republican primary, and he's a strong supporter and sponsor of all of my content. And that's why it's important for you to do your shopping with my promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, so that Mike Lindell knows, that's how he knows that his sponsorship is money well spent. And Father's Day is this month. We're in June now. And give the gift of a good night's sleep forever to dad, whether it's your dad, your granddad, your husband, you know, your father, whoever it is. Give your dad on your Father's Day list any of these great My Pillow products. There's huge savings with my promo code Kane, whether you get the My Pillow, the My Pillow sheets, my favorite, the 3-inch My Pillow mattress topper. Just so many options, and you can use my promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, on all the specials at mypillow.com. You can also order by phone, toll free, 800-716-4879. 800-716-4879. Promo code Kane, Kane. We'll be right back.
Hi, Tom Laporta here. We are Laporta Roofing, a family business since 1983. You are our customer. In other words, our boss. We are here for and because of you, not the other way around. The 2026 rainy season is upon us, but because we haven't had a hurricane in 2 years, almost all states and roofing companies have gone out of business, leaving only the strongest and the best contractors. At Laporta Roofing, we will never sell you a roof you don't need. We don't have salesmen or commissions, so we will never pressure you to sign a contract. Also, deposits are not required. At Laporta Roofing, you will always come first. We must earn your trust, and we will. So call me on my cell at 954-604-4602 or find us on the web at laportaroofing.com. That number again is 954-604-4602, 954-604-4602, or on the web at laportaroofing.com.
How would you like to make your laptop, water bottle, cooler, toolbox, car, or your favorite gear a little less boring? Then you need thestickerwiz.com. Founded by Mike, thestickerwiz.com creates unique, original stickers designed to make people smile, laugh, and express who they are without saying a word. At thestickerwiz.com, you'll find everything you're looking for, from funny and cute to cool, motivational, pet themed, and everything in between. Every sticker at thestickerwiz.com is personally designed and produced by Mike, with creativity and quality built into every design. The StickerWiz.com stickers are waterproof, dishwasher safe, and made to withstand the sun, so your favorite designs stay looking great wherever life takes you. Whether you're decorating your everyday gear or searching for the perfect design that matches your personality, you'll find stickers that fit your vibe and help you stand out from the crowd. You'll also find incredible stickers on Mike's Etsy shop, thestickerwiz.etsy.com. That's thestickerwiz.etsy.com. What are you waiting for? Go right now to thestickerwiz.com and thestickerwiz.etsy.com and discover stickers designed for your everyday life. Thestickerwiz.com. Make everything yours. And thestickerwiz.etsy.com. Notice some people command attention the moment they walk in the room, while others struggle just to be heard. The difference isn't intelligence, it isn't experience, and it isn't talent. In the powerful must-read book, How to Communicate to Be Seen, Heard, and Respected, communication strategist and author Jake Stahl reveals the hidden psychology behind influence, trust, confidence, and presence. When you read Own the Room, you'll discover why people react differently to the exact same words depending on who says them, how insecurity silently weakens persuasion, and how to communicate with authority, authenticity, and emotional presence. If you're a leader, a salesperson, entrepreneur, creator, podcaster, or simply someone who wants to be more effective in everyday conversations, Own the Room gives you practical, actionable tools to build trust, project confidence, and make a lasting impact. Stop trying to impress people. Start learning how to truly connect with them. Order your copy of Own the Room, How to Communicate to Be Seen, Heard, and Respected from author Jake Stahl on Amazon in Kindle, paperback, hardcover, audiobook, and free with Kindle Unlimited.
All right, we're back. I'm Brian. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Okay, so we got a little bit of breaking news. The Department of Justice and President Trump are canceling the 1776 fund, the $1.776 billion. And this is in the New York Post. President Trump is dropping his $1.776 billion anti-weaponization fund the Justice Department announced today. Senate Republicans complained about the lack of guardrails on the fund and grilled Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche about who could apply for compensation when he met with him on Capitol Hill 2 weeks ago. The Justice Department said it would abide by a federal court ruling that halted any payouts. The Department of Justice disagrees strongly with the decision of the anti-weaponization fund. It goes on a little bit about that. Trump was getting blowback from his own party on the issue. Senate Republicans were griping. And it goes on. Hey, listen, what President Trump is doing is so big, okay? It's so big what he's doing. And what his main focus right now is on is simply draining the swamp of the rhinos. Right now in his second term, everything that he wants to get done is not getting done because we have all these rhinos that are interfering with everything, right? And what do we got, right? We got the Save America Act, which should have been passed the day that it went to the Senate, and it's never going to come up for a vote. Not with Thune and these fake Republicans running around. And President Trump knows that. So what President Trump is doing is, ridding us of these lowlives and scumbags, and that's his priority. And once they're gone, everything else can get handled. I mean, how many balls can a juggler juggle at once, right? He's got Iran, he's got the midterms. So now this fits under the category of choose your battles, and which is a very wise way to live your life, right? It really truly is. By the way, Tina Peters out of prison today. I saw her on the War Room earlier, and that's a good thing. They were hoping that she would be in prison for life, the Democrats, and she is out, thankfully so. Mike Pence, here he is on Meet the Press, and listen to this question he's asked. Okay, so don't need to hear any more from Judas here. His every sentence that Mike Pence utters begins with, "As I write in my book, as I wrote in my book, as you will read in my book." He's always plugging the book. But Kristen Welker, what she asked is why I play this. See, this is what they don't get. We're never moving on beyond Donald Trump, okay? Even when he's no longer president. For the rest of his life, he's going to decide what Republicans win and lose elections. He's going to decide which Republicans get the primary wins and all of that. He's going to decide which Republicans get the nomination for president and vice president at the conventions. and the entire Trump family are going to be playing this role for decades to come. There's not going to be a post-Trump era, and this is one of the things they're counting on, the establishment and the media and the never-Trumpers. But that one thing they've got to learn is that's not going to happen. Now, a week from tomorrow is the big California primary. A week from tomorrow is the Maine primary with the Nazi, Graham Plattner. And they got all these sex scandals that have been coming out with him. This is Fox News talking a little bit about that today. Yeah. You know, this is the thing I just don't get about what's going on with Graham Plattner. I don't know why this story is breaking over the weekend about Graham Plattner and all this sexting and everything that was going on. And the other thing that I don't understand is, why is this like a deal breaker for the Democrats? Although some of them are excusing it, but the Nazi tattoo and the Nazi contacts, that doesn't seem to faze them. That's what I really can't understand. So here's more on Fox talking about Graham Plattner, and he's favored to win the primary.
He was apparently on this app called Kick.
See?
And 60% of Kick's 15 million monthly active subscribers between the ages of 13 and 24 years old. The National Center on Sexual Exploitation has labeled it a predator's paradise. So I do have questions about why you would be on a site like that. You've got that. You've got the Nazi tattoo. You've got the sexting scandal with other women. He's made racist remarks. He made the remark about that the veterans should have been hit. It's on, and we're not even in a general election. So there's going to be so much more. So do Democrats care about character, or do they care about power?
Yeah, and this is for sure an October surprise, because we are a week away from the Maine primary, and they have polls, and you got to put a grain of salt into these polls, because the Democrats with their fake polls, but they have polls that show him beating Susan Collins in the general election. How real that is, I don't know, and how this factors in, I don't know. But if Graham Plattner somehow wins, the Republicans should refuse to sit him and swear him in. We shouldn't be swearing in Nazis into the United States Senate. But the sexting scandal that's coming out there, this did not come out from the Republicans. This came out 100%, not just through the Democrats, but through his campaign. Because if you remember, by her own admission, Graham Plattner's wife gave all of this information to the campaign so they could do their opposition research in case things came up and they could be prepared. And someone within his campaign released this, is what the story is. So this is the Democrats looking to stop Graham Plattner. So they're whether they're looking to stop him because he's a Nazi with the Nazi tattoo, and they're like, we can't have that, or if they just think it's bad for the party nationwide in the general election to have a Nazi in a high-profile Senate race, as we go into the midterms. I don't know which of those reasons, but he is being exposed by the Democrats. This is the Democrats going after their own. The Republicans have nothing to do with breaking this story. And the thing about Graham Plattner, even after everything that broke, I saw he's still on this Stop the Oligarchy tour with Bernie, and I saw him go into a room of Democrats, and they were so excited that he was in there. It really blows my mind what's happened with the Democrats. I mean, they have less than zero moral compass at this point, really. And Graham Plattner, I think it would be, and you can disagree or agree with this. I'm certainly curious what you all think, but I think it would be a good thing for him to win the Democrat primary in Maine, don't you? The Nazi? Absolutely. Because what's going to happen between now and November, if this guy wins the Democrat nomination, what kind of damage will this do to Democrat races nationwide. And that's probably why the Democrats are trying to run him out of the race now with the sex scandal, in particular the kick, right? So no, this could turn out to be a very good thing for us if he wins this primary. So we want Spencer Pratt to win tomorrow. We want Steve Hilton to win tomorrow, right? And do we want Graham Plattner to win his primary and go up against Susan Collins? And I would say he's probably the best candidate for the Republicans, for the Democrats to run out there. I do. And, because what he's doing is he's really exposing how sick, twisted, and lowlife the Democrats are when you've got Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas, and Bernie Sanders and the squad and everybody out there endorsing and getting behind Graham Plattner. Now, if you'd like to support my program and all my content, please become a Patreon supporter. If you become a Patreon supporter, you get access to a lot of exclusive things, including my exclusive Patreon-only live streams, which I do daily. In fact, it's much like the live stream here on YouTube with a live chat, although it's a troll-free zone. And if you go to my Patreon page, you'll see I'm doing these live streams all the time. And on these live streams, even though the format is much like YouTube with a live chat and everything, I talk about things that not only I don't talk about here, but I talk about a lot of things I cannot talk about here. So if you catch those Patreon live streams, you're already a Patreon supporter, you know what I mean. There's a link to my Patreon page in the description of the episode on whatever platform you're tuned in on. And when you go there, you'll see the option join for free. If you join for free, you don't have access to any of the content there. Okay, you won't even see the content. You have to become a paying member, which starts at just $5 a month, and you get access to all the exclusive live streams and commercial-free editions of the podcast and everything else. And if you become a top Patreon supporter, you get a live on-air thank you shout-out and your name up on the screen as well on every podcast episode. I want to thank SFjr, Christine, Chuck, Pamela, Nick, Wesley, Doris, Heather, David, Maria in Texas, Alice, LeeZep, Shawna, George, Brandon, John, Frank, Dale, Tina, David, Laura, Rob, Wes, Sue, Janice, Teresa, Irene, Rick, and Michael. These are my top Patreon supporters. Thank you for your support. And again, if you'd like to become a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the description. My name is Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you first thing tomorrow morning on The Morning Show. Take care.